You've heard James say it a million times. Respect the polygon. At Weather Call, we make the polygon better. We call, text, or email you so you'll always know when you're in danger. No matter who you are, there's a Weather Call solution right for you. Check us out at weathercallservices.com.
Here's your weather video for this Wednesday, June 19th. Juneteenth, an important day in American history, a federal holiday today. So no mail service, banks won't be open, etc., as we remember this important day in American history. We were also remembering important baseball history last night, important period at Rickwood Field, America's oldest ballpark. Our Birmingham Barons, Montgomery Biscuits, donned the uniforms of the Negro Southern League, which have a tremendous rich history in Birmingham, including there at Rickwood. And it was a spectacular evening, but there was a collective gasp in the museum when many of our devices went off saying the breaking news that the great Willie Mays had passed away. And, of course, a lot of what we're doing this week at Rickwood, the Southern League game last night, the celebrity softball tournament tonight, the regular season Major League game on Thursday between the Cardinals and the Giants, of course, is all to honor Willie Mays, who Birmingham resident, who's one of the great American heroes. So the game will take on added importance on Thursday night. 6:15 first pitch. Should be a beautiful night for baseball. Warmer than tonight. The high clouds really helped today, and we had the tropical disturbance in the Gulf to think about that. Now we'll look at that a little more in detail in just a moment. This is the upper pattern across North America early on this Wednesday morning, showing the low pressure system in the southwestern Gulf. This is up at about 18,000 feet. Steering height for many of our weather systems. You can still see this really intense ridge of high pressure. Temperature or pressure's way above normal, height's way above normal there over New England, and it's going to produce some incredible record temperatures today, as we'll see in a minute. But that ridge is extending all the way into the southeast and the Gulf of Mexico, and it has already turned our disturbance in the Gulf to the west. Potential tropical cyclone 1 will make landfall late tonight, early Thursday morning, north of Tampico on the Mexican coast. Oh, wait a minute. I want to go back and kind of show you how this evolves as we get into Thursday and then Friday. The system over the northeast is weakening. The ridge of high pressure sort of shifts its emphasis down to the southeast, centered there over the Kentucky-Tennessee border. But it looks like we might have another tropical cyclone at the last minute, Friday night or Saturday, a little further south, probably near Tampico, moving in. You see that 594 decameter high over Alabama, Georgia, parts of Tennessee, Mississippi. That's going to spell some really hot weather as we get into the weekend. We're going to see the mercury rising, humidity levels, dew points are going to be rising, and correspondingly so will the heat index values. This is a Saturday night. Showing a developing trough over the Great Lakes. That system will deepen, intensify, and swing to the southeast over New England, and that will change things slightly for us in Alabama. Instead of this dry air that we've had, we're going to have a little bit of energy in the upper atmosphere, maybe a surface boundary pushing into the Alabama southeastern area, and that means increasing rain chances of showers and thunderstorms. Probably begin to show up a little bit on Saturday, more likely on Sunday. Then Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday look like we'll have pretty good shower and thunderstorm chances, despite the fact that we've got a weak ridge all over our area. Now, toward the end of the period, toward the end of week 2, we're getting into the 4th of July range, and we see a really strong trough. Really two troughs following there in a big upper low developing by the 3rd over the Great Lakes, and that probably spells increasingly unsettled weather for Alabama. Here's our low in the Gulf. You say, well, why in the world are they still calling it potential tropical cyclone 1? We're seeing wind gusts, well above 40 miles an hour in the Gulf, even along the Texas coast, places like High Island. Last night, we're seeing wind gusts in the 40 to 45 mile per hour range. But the system is very disorganized. You get near the center, we'll see that in a minute. The winds are actually light, and it's just not very organized. Let's put the maps in motion. This is the 18Z run of yesterday. The GFS bringing the center of what should be Tropical Storm Alberto onto the Mexican coast there north of Tampico, probably around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Top winds 50 miles an hour. Heavy rain's going to be likely over South Texas. They could have 5 to 10 inches of rain, some isolated amounts to 15 inches. San Luis Pass to the south, that's where the tropical storm warnings are in effect. But they could have certainly gusts of tropical storm force and some sustained winds of at least 39 miles per hour over southeast Texas and the Mexican coast, and there will be some coastal flooding, as a matter of fact. Now, I don't want to depart from that just yet. We're still here dry in Alabama. We're dry Wednesday, dry Thursday, no chances of rain, maybe a shower or two Thursday night along the Gulf Coast, but for north and central Alabama, will be dry. That continues through Friday. That's good news for the baseball game Thursday night. First pitch about 89. Dropping to around 79 by the final out. Going to be a fun night of baseball at Rickwood. But, a few showers begin to show up late Friday night into Saturday. Southeastern sections, I think we'll deal with a shower or thunderstorm, probably isolated in nature on Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. But, moisture levels starting to increase. And more showers and thunderstorms show up. Now, I've been more bullish on the storms for Sunday. But I think we might have to back off just a bit on those. We'll just kind of have to see. Showers and thunderstorms, though, are likely down into north and central Alabama on Monday. That's the 24th, Tuesday the 25th. I think it's more of the same. I'll go back just a couple of frames here. Still some disturbed weather in the Gulf, but doesn't look like that'll be developing into anything. As we get into Wednesday, showers and thunderstorms likely just about any time during the day. Looks like maybe a little tropical wave feature swinging around the big ridge. That may be that system that we've been looking at. The Hurricane Center's had it outlooked out here east of the Bahamas. But it, doesn't appear as likely that it's going to become a tropical cyclone. Still not out of the question. The 27th, we're getting into that Thursday. We're well out, into the about 8 days from now, showing showers and thunderstorms still likely. I think they begin to thin out a bit by Friday, although they still look like they're there on the GFS. But it looks like by Saturday and Sunday we'll probably be dry. And then as we race into the period right before the 4th of July, showers and thunderstorms begin to increase again by the 2nd. The 3rd, a system, perhaps a front working its way down here into Alabama. And then by the 4th of July, good chance of showers and thunderstorms, especially overnight, Thursday night the 3rd. But this is voodoo country. Lots can happen between now and then. This is the day 2 outlook. As I record this about 1 a.m., I would imagine I can refresh this, and we probably have a new day 1 from the SPC, and indeed we do. South Texas coastal plain in a marginal risk. That's a level 1 out of 5. Same thing in New Mexico, the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles up into southwestern Kansas, and a large area ahead of a cold front, is going to have strong to severe thunderstorms. Late today, from eastern Indiana, southeastern Michigan, northern Ohio, all the way into Maine, where we're going to see some amazing record temperatures. I don't think I guess our day 2 has updated. This will be the outlook for Thursday. Something there in the western plains. The main emphasis is going to be that frontal system moving into New England, putting an end to all of the record heat. We have a slight risk for parts of northern Pennsylvania, eastern New York, eastern and southern New York, into Vermont, New Hampshire, and a good bit of Massachusetts, with a marginal risk surrounding much of that. So there are going to be some very active thunderstorms in that area. Now, these are precipitation amounts off the deterministic GFS, but I think it kind of gives us a good feel for what sort of rain we can expect over the next 7 days over Alabama. Generally, everybody sees at least a quarter of an inch. A large part of us see about a half inch, and some lucky folks. These are probably not exactly where those amounts are going to occur, but some folks will get in excess of an inch. Somewhere there, and that's nice. We'll take it because our dryness is going to continue to increase, and I worry that we'll head back into drought. But you see, as we go into the longer range period here, those rainfall amounts start to pile up, and by the 4th of July holiday, by 1 o'clock on the 4th, this is what the GFS is looking like. Generally 1.5 inches for everybody. Looks like the mean is around 3.5 inches. Some lucky folks, though, may get 4.5 to 5 inches of rain over the next 2 weeks. These are temperatures off the national blend of models, showing that gradual warming trend, going to put us into the above normal range. Our average high this time of year in Birmingham is 89. But we're going to be well above that every day after today, and indeed approaching 97, 98 degrees, and really close to the upper 90s through a good bit of the period. Now, some of these temperatures might be just a tad high. I've generally adjusted them down a couple of degrees in the forecast. I'll show you in just a minute. Nationally, flash flood watches, tropical storm warnings along the Texas coast and South Texas, excessive. We've got all kind of excessive heat watches, not only in southern Arizona, down around Tucson, but also from New England back into the to the Midwest. This is a wide area of heat advisories shown in orange. The brick color is excessive heat watches and excessive heat warnings scattered across that area. These are temperatures off the National Digital Forecast Database for later today in the Northeast, and I wanted to use them to point out 69, or I'm sorry, this is the morning low, but if we swing over to the daily high, 96 today at Caribou will tie their all-time record. That's only happened 3 times. Well, I guess 2 times. Today will be the 3rd. And if they get to 97, it'll be an all-time record high for their Millinocket at 96, and down in Bangor, they're expecting 95. So those all 3 could be records for the day, tied or broken, and you can see there will be a litany of records all the way from eastern Ohio, West Virginia, into New England, including Maine, and we'll be watching that. Yeah, the really interesting thing, I started off this slide, 69 degrees, that's a full, I think 15 degrees above normal for the overnight low. So, those excessive heat warnings are there because not really getting that cooling effect at night. And folks up there just don't have, air conditioning. Like, it's almost a necessity in the southeastern United States. This is June 19th right here. The record high for this date in Caribou is 96. So we're probably going to tie that. Most likely, could even break it. Given the way the heat has been going. They've only recorded 96 twice, as we said. The other time was back on June 29th in 1944. I love that ACIS website. This is the tropical weather outlook from the Hurricane Center, showing a potential tropical cyclone number 1, still waiting for it to become Tropical Storm Alberto. That's likely to happen today. But behind that, there's a 30% chance, says the Hurricane Center, that a second disturbance will form in the southwestern Gulf and move quickly into Mexico. Some small chance that it could become a tropical storm. We'll see how that goes. Hurricane Center's been hanging on to this area outlook here east of the Bahamas, but they've only got the chance of that developing into a tropical cyclone at 20%. This is potential Tropical Cyclone 1. Dr. Levi Cowan's incredible site, Tropical Tidbits. He's got everything you need to know just about tropical weather right here. This is an image here on this Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning, as I record this about 1 a.m., showing, definitely a cyclonic structure to the system in the southwestern Gulf. The center is about right here, and to have a organized tropical cyclone, that convection's got to be near the center, and that's just not the case. We've got thunderstorms that seem to be developing out here to the west of the center, and we really have a good outflow in almost all quadrants, but we just don't have the organization that we need for this to be named as a tropical cyclone. Here's the cone from the Hurricane Center. We've got the 1 a.m. advisory in. Top winds 40 miles an hour, but it is still not a tropical storm. You can see this track westward. It becomes a full-fledged tropical storm before 7 p.m. tonight, and it's inland into Mexico, north of Tampico, sometime after midnight, late tonight, early on Thursday morning. What else can we discern here from Dr. Cowan's incredible site? There's the low. Here's a real tell. The wind at this station in the just to the west of the center has been very light all night. It's been 5-10 knots. While meanwhile, some of the platforms up here east of the Texas coast have been measuring winds in excess of, sustained over 40 and gusts over 50. As a matter of fact, there were observations on the Texas coast tonight near and just southwest of Galveston, like High Island. They had a gust way into the 40s. The storm, is packing a punch, but it's pretty far to the north. And that is just another lesson when, we're dealing with tropical cyclones. You can't look at them as a single point. They affect areas way outside that center. This is some of the modeling, the global track models here. This is the GFS ensemble. This is the European ensemble. And you can see everything says it's going into Mexico. This is several of the models. Intensity forecasts, and pretty much everything shows that it's going to be a tropical storm. It's just whether it can become organized enough to get that. But you see it tails off very quickly as the system moves into the Gulf or into Mexico. Recon tonight, the Air Force has finished their mission, and here was some of the wind. The wind was kind of up there as they were leaving, really flying out to the north. We don't have real good, minimum surface pressures, but the winds were, up there 45 knots at the flight level. So even if you discount those about 10%, you've got winds probably to tropical storm force, and the step frequency equipment was, showing that also around 38, 39 knots. So, we're pretty close to this being a tropical storm. There's, almost no question about that. So I was cheating a little bit with my display tonight. I know the graphics, not fitting the screen perfectly, but it, let us show a lot of different stuff that was really kind of fun. So I hope you enjoyed it. I sure enjoyed putting it together with you, just like we do putting together Weather Brains. Usually on Monday nights. This week's show was recorded Thursday before James went on vacation, and it dropped this Monday night. But it features a great conversation with three of our colleagues that were at an American Meteorological Society conference in Myrtle Beach. And they had a couple of fascinating guests and a real live studio audience. So that show, over 18 years old now, we're approaching show 1,000. It's going to occur on St. Patty's Day next year. We got to start planning how we can have a big event for that. Weather Brains, the weekly netcast that's all about weather. Well, this is the weather video that's all about weather. We usually do it twice a day, except when James is on vacation. The fun thing for me is that I get to do it for a couple of days. So, catch my weather forecast on the Summit radio stations in Birmingham, and the Town Square stations in Tuscaloosa all through the remainder of the week. But I thank you for your attention. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it. See you Thursday night at Rickwood, and see you tomorrow night, early Thursday morning, for my next video, the next video we produce here. And until I get that opportunity, as I always tell you, keep an eye to the sky, because you'll always have something fun to look at.